Start with Abigail. Something stand out to you in a particular event or quote or topic as having implications for how we can live, as I often say, happier, wiser, more meaningful lives.
What seems to come through in a number of points along the way of this episode is, I would put it under the topic of demystification or simplification, or don't be unnecessarily and artificially complex.
And instead be what?
Straightforward and commonsensical and plain and honest and open, something like that. You're given this assignment that in the movies, in Bible movies they used to make, comes with organ music in the back and a new hairdo. When Charlton Heston comes down from the mountain, he's met God, or the burning bush episode, he's met God and he's got new curls and a deeper voice and no sense of humor anymore. He's all transformed, and you used to like him and now you're kind of afraid of him, but he's been touched and sent on a divine mission. So you are told that you're going to be the new Elijah, and people don't normally get told something like that by a presence they have reason to believe is God. And so you start saying, I'm not worthy, which is like saying, I'm not Charlton Heston, I'm not the guy in the movie.
That's exactly how I felt. Why didn't God pick one of these charismatic, impressive, flashing eyes people, resonant voices that roll out like the ocean roar? It's just me, just Jerry Martin, right?
With due respect, you're not trying to be a guy like that. God says, let me decide that. And you say, I don't have enough faith, as if faith is some occult property by which you get zapped and after that you're full of faith. And God says, you have more faith than you know. As I think about that, what does that mean to have faith or to have more than you know? And what was it about you who'd never tried to cultivate the quality of faith and faithfulness that warranted God in saying that? And it seems to me what you had was an ability to follow a directive that you took to be coming from God. The Israelites at Mount Sinai say, we will do and we will hear. In other words, we will obey, we will get in line, we'll follow orders, line up with your directives, Lord, and then we will understand what they mean, fill our souls with good stuff. So that's a simplification. You're not waiting for some occult quality to inwardly change the chemistry of you.
You sometimes say you see this task before you and recounting an event in your life, sometimes something that led to a controversy, but the task had your name on it.
Mm.
And, this is divine call preceded by a voice and all of that kind of thing. But everybody has moments when something comes to them where, hey, I've got to stop doing my normal day-to-day stuff that I'm more comfortable with. And because this has my name on it, or I feel it's in my path, to be done. I think the question is how do you recognize this task has your name on it? It falls to you to step forward. Others are stepping back, maybe.
In my experience, it's usually front and center so that the counter arguments are peripheral. They say, you don't know the outcome, you'll be ridiculed. That doesn't go to the main event. Can I do this? Does it seem to be within my range? Do I seem to be better positioned than somebody else? And usually I don't go through a long list of other candidates. You know, there might be somebody within eyesight or earshot. But in my experience, these things aren't that hard to determine.
Your experience is it's front and center right in front of you. So as people sometimes say, the only way around is through.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise it's a deflection. You're not taking on what is presented to you to take on.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem mysterious. I don't know, you know, is there a phenomenology? Has anybody tried to portray or study people's reactions to along a gamut from I will do it and I will hear it to not today, or somebody else would be better qualified, or I'll be back next week. I have to consult with my lawyer. You know, people can feel unworthy, I suppose.
That's a comment by God as a blocking one of those deflections you're talking about. You think, well, surely not me, someone else. And either they're at hand or they're not at hand, but you can conjure them up in your imagination, the kind of person who would be needed. The way I think, oh, you need a Charlton Heston type of person. And God says, I will decide that. And you might take it that when the task is right in front of you in this way, that the only way around is through, that you have to assume you're worthy or decide that doesn't even matter. It's not a matter of worth. It's a matter of this is your job.
You know, there's a question, was that really God? Was that job really mine? One thing I ask myself, and I don't know if this qualifies as a criterion or just my psychic wheels spinning, but I ask myself, if I don't do this, will I never know whether this was to be done or not? The only way I can know is if I do it, and it turns out it leads to a pratfall, it leads to something ridiculous, it leads to something regretted for the next 25 years, then I'll know. You know, but if I don't try it, I'll never know. And I guess I'm philosopher enough. Aristotle says all people by nature desire to know. I think children desire to know before it's stamped out of them. So I desire to know, was this what I thought it was or not? And there's only one way to find out.